Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is David, and previously I did a video where I show you how you can bring your spouse to Germany, right? But one of the requirements was that you have to get A1. Actually, the applicant or the person who is your home country needs to do the A1 German language, right? And within that period, the exception was that if your spouse in Germany has a blue card, you, the applicant, you don't need to write the A1 German language. But now they have included several other exceptions, and I think it's good that I made a video for you guys to know. In case you fall into any of these categories, then you don't have to write it. So either your spouse in Germany qualify it, or you, the applicant, actually qualify for it. Okay guys, so as you can see over here, so we have, they say possible exceptions from proof of language skills, right? So they are saying that you don't need to provide proficiency in German if you fall into any of these categories I'm going to go through. So the first one is you. So you have to make sure that the sentence is either applying to you, the applicant, the one in your home country, or is applying to the person who is in your who is in Germany. So this list is kind of a combination of both, so we have to take note of that. So the first one is you or your spouse are a citizen of a member state of the European Union. So either you or your husband or wife, the person who is living in Germany, actually comes from any of the European Union countries, then you don't need to get a proficiency in German, right? You don't need A1. The second point is your spouse, that is the person who is living in Germany, right, is a citizen of Australia, Israel, Japan, Canada, Korea, New Zealand, UK, or the US, Andorra, Brazil, El Salvador, Honduras, Monaco, or San Marino. So if the person who is living in Germany actually comes from any of these countries, then you, the applicants, you don't need the A1. So the next one is that you have a university degree. So you, the person applying, so this refers to you, the applicant. You have a university degree, and you can probably find a work in Germany due to your language skills, right? So this is kind of discretionary because how can you prove that you can find a work? But I think once you have a university degree, you don't have to stress yourself with anything else. So this is a good thing because I know a lot of people have a university degree, so it can work for them. The next one is that your spouse holds an EU blue card. So this was the previous requirement for the exceptions, right? So previously, if your husband or your wife hold the EU blue card or the ICT card, then you, the applicant, you don't need a German A1, right? Now we are going to go through a whole list of things. So all the things I'm mentioning, you just need one of these. So you don't have to get all the requirements. You just need one and you're good to go. So here we have a list of things you can also see through. They say that your spouse holds a resident permit. So this is referring to the person living in Germany. So if the person who is living in Germany is a skilled worker with vocational training or academic education, and they have a section to the German Resident Act. So if you want to really know that your spouse actually qualifies, normally with our resident card we use here in Germany, they have these sections on it, so your spouse can check which section is on it. If it's 18A or 18B, then they qualify, right? So normally skilled worker, people actually graduating in Germany and they have found their work, you know, they have a vocation or they have a vocational training, maybe they did some nursing education or something like that. All these criteria fit into this. The next one is if your spouse, that is the person living in Germany, is a senior executive or is a manager, is a company specialist, a scientist, a guest researcher, engineer, a technician in a research team of a guest researcher, or as a teacher, that then you don't have to write A1. So all these things, if your spouse actually falls into any of these positions, then you're good to go. The next one is a skilled worker. I think it's kind of it's kind of similar to the first one. Well, and the next one is a researcher, right? And all of them, they have the sections on it. So a self-employed person. So if your spouse living in Germany has actually opened a business for himself, is doing a business of his own, is self-employed, then you don't have to write the A1. So the next one is a person entitled to asylum. So but we have to read on to whom you were already married in your home country before your partner moved to Germany. So this is very important. So if your spouse, your husband or your wife is in Germany and they have this asylum status, you should have married the person before he or she came, right? So if the person came here and you got married, then this doesn't apply to you. So you have to have been married in your home country before the person applying for the asylum status, right? The next one is a person who has been granted refugee status or subsidiary protection, to whom you were already married in your home country before your partner moved to Germany. So this is like the previous one. So if they have a refugee status, your partner has a refugee status in Germany, and you had already married that person before they came, right? So then you qualify to not write in the A1. The next one is a long-term resident from another EU member state. So maybe your spouse comes from any of the EU member states, right? Let's say Italy or Spain or any other country, but they have a long-term, let's say a permanent resident in this country, even though they don't have the citizenship in that country, but they have, let's say, permanent residence, or they stay there for a long period of time, then you, the applicant, you don't have to write the A1. The next one is you do not wish to remain permanently in Germany. This is difficult to prove, actually. I don't know how they're going to do this, but maybe one way or the other you have to prove that you are not staying in Germany permanently. And if you can prove that, then you don't have to write the A1. And this one is gonna be difficult to prove, actually. The next one is, it is impossible or unreasonable to learn the language abroad, or this has proven unsuccessful despite your attempts. Wow. So if you've written the language, the exams for several times, maybe 2-3 times, and you failed, then you can prove that one. You have the records, right? That you've tried your best and you couldn't pass it, so they can allow you to come without getting the pass mark, right? Or if it's impossible or unreasonable to learn, maybe there's no German language school in your country, right? So it doesn't make sense to go to another country. Let's say you are from Nigeria and you don't have a German language school in Nigeria, and you have to maybe come to Ghana, go to Ghana to study over there. I mean, it's unreasonable, right? Yeah, you don't have to take flight just to go and learn some language, right? So I think with that you can prove. But if you have a language school, how are you going to prove this? So this is also another difficult point over there. But if you've written the exam several times and you failed, you can use that as an excuse to not getting the A1 at all. So the next one is you are unable to prove a basic knowledge of German on account of an illness or disability. Wow. Okay. So if you have illness, I think this one has to do with maybe say you are blind, right? You have an eye impairment. Let's say you cannot see well, maybe not totally blind, but you cannot see well. You have some disability, learning disability, but some of them will be difficult to prove actually, unless maybe you have a medical record of that to prove it. So yeah, if you have some illness or something that will prevent you from actually learning at all. So, and best example is if you are blind. So yeah, let's see. The next one is you can cite other special circumstances for the impossibility or unreasonableness of language acquisition, which could justify a case of hardship. Okay, so if you have other reasons that will not allow you to learn the language or to get the A1, which can be a case of hardship, is it about money? Or is it about a war in your country? So you can think through all these examples I'm giving. Let's say there's a war in your country, you don't have the peace to go and sit and learn in the classroom, right? So maybe the money is too much, which I kind of going with that reason might be a bit difficult to prove, right? Because even though, yeah, sometimes it's actually expensive to learn the German language in our home countries, right? I know I recently asked somebody to check the prices, and yeah, it's a bit high. So all these I think that's the last one, yeah. But I'm happy that they have expanded the exceptions, right, the rules to cover all these, because I remember one time there was a German lady who was actually complaining because the spouse has tried several times writing the exams for like 3-4 times, and he failed all the exams. So it didn't make sense for her to just be alone in Germany and the spouse being in I've forgotten Africa. It was one of the African countries. And so I think they push the government to increase these exceptions, and it's good that they have expanded it to cover a lot of things. So I know a lot of people can qualify for some of these things, but if you still doesn't qualify, then I mean, learning the language is also good, because coming here with an A1 at least give you the advantage over somebody who didn't learn it at all. So in a way, if you learn it, is good, right? But to save time and money is also better if you come here and start learning everything from the start. So yeah, this is what I wanted to share with you guys, and I hope it's good, and maybe you can qualify for one of these. I'm not sure. So thank you guys for watching the video, and if you're new here, subscribe and like this video and share with other people as well. Thank you, and I'll see you once again another time. Bye.